afternoon, folks, and welcome to the October 8th, 2013 meeting of the Radnor Township School District Finance Committee. Mrs. Booker is not going to be able to be with us this afternoon. She has an excused absence. She is on a work project in Mexico. We begin with a review of our minutes from our last meeting, September 10, 2013. Any suggested corrections or revisions? Okay, we will accept those minutes then and move on to public comment.
Chivalry is dead, Judy. On today's agenda, I actually don't have a copy of it. Can I see your agenda? I have a copy of a lot of other stuff here. Item number 1 will be a discussion of the fund balance and a review of the preliminary 12-13 audit / discussion of status assigned / unassigned funds. In other words, this is a discussion of the surplus from last year and how we're going to make assignments within the general fund to accommodate that. Included on the website was a 2-page analysis of this. I meant to distribute copies to you all. I have some other copies for the public here. I don't think that's inappropriate. I hope not. There's a 2-page attachment that makes an attempt to explain some of the things that will be discussed in today's meeting. I've spent hours and hours and hours over the past several days since this was posted on Friday digesting these 2 pages and trying to make sense of the attachment. And what I've just given you a copy of is my annotated copy of the 2-page attachment, as well as some other exhibits that I put together as background for what my public comments will include. Unfortunately, members of the public don't have access to this right now, but if you email me at info@rrrg.org, I will send you a copy. I'm going to make some comments on this presentation now so that hopefully the committee and the administration can address them during the discussion period. First, the surplus for last year, fiscal year 2013, was $3.2 million. That's $3.2 million. But nowhere in this presentation is that number shown. It's arguably the most relevant information, but it's not called out on the attachment. To figure it out, you have to add 2 numbers, one a positive number and one a negative number, at the bottom of the 2nd page. I've included as my Exhibit B, which is the 3rd page of what I handed out, a much clearer proposed presentation of the surplus that could have been accomplished with just a few minor tweaks. Most importantly, adding a total line at the bottom. Second, not only isn't the surplus shown, but the presentation highlights on the 1st page near the top the growth in the general fund balance of $660,000. Historically, this may have been a proxy for the persistent surpluses, but this year, over $4 million for capital spending was reclassified out of the general fund, which masks what's happening. This $4 million had previously been assigned, and that's a legal term, within the general fund. But at some point, according to this analysis, it was moved into the Restricted for Capital Projects Fund, which isn't part of the general fund. While in terms of the district's balance sheet, that is the total fund balance, there may be no impact, but this move certainly makes it harder to follow the money, and I found no board action authorizing this reclassification. As shown in my Exhibit F and Exhibit G, at its October 23, 2012 board meeting, after being vetted at the October Finance Committee meeting a year ago, a similar meeting to this, the board voted to assign the fiscal year 2012 surplus of $4.1 million within the general fund, including $2.8 million approximately for capital 2013-14 projects. I have found no board action authorizing the transfer of the funds out of the general fund. Third, the increase in the balance of all funds is shown as $3.1 million at the top of page 2, which is close to the $3.2 million surplus. But the administration is asking for the assignment of $4.7 million. That's $1.5 million more at the bottom of page 1. Where does the extra $1.5 million come from? I have tried to figure this out in my Exhibit C, which is an attempt to create the type of transparent fund analysis I've requested many times in the past. The bottom line conclusion of this analysis is that there's a $1.55 million increase in the general fund balance with no obvious reason. I would like the administration to clearly explain what the $1.55 million is and where it came from. Given the changes in the other fund balances, it seems like it might be some type of surplus in addition to the $3.2 million. And then finally, on rows 18 and 20, on the 18 through 20 on the second page of this attachment, are apparently an attempt to justify the surplus by looking forward to fiscal year 2014 spending and showing the use of fund balance to finance capital projects and retirement costs. Well, this type of analysis, if provided in a complete and thoughtful manner, has a place in long-term capital planning. That is certainly not the case in this document, and its inclusion is completely inappropriate. I have included many other lesser comments in my handout, which I hope you will take the opportunity to consider, and I look forward to the additional explanations I hope will be provided here tonight.